Hey guys, this is Mike with 4 and 6 Music. So what I want to do in today's lesson is I want to just go over several picking patterns that you can use to help with your right hand picking. And this can be very beneficial for a lot of different types of music. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at this within the realm of metal, right? And I'm going to use several examples just to illustrate some of these picking patterns. So the first pattern that we're going to learn is just a very basic alternate picking pattern where we pick down, up, and we're just alternating like that. And for all these examples, we're going to use our low E string. As you can tell, I have the distortion on. Anytime you're practicing, especially if, let's say, you're practicing a song that has distortion, my suggestion would be don't just practice on a clean sound, using a clean tone. That can be very beneficial, especially if you're writing music, let's say, and you want to get a really good sound, a good sounding riff. Sometimes you don't want to rely just on the distortion. You may want to use a clean sound to make sure that the riff itself is one that's going to sound good even without the distortion, and it's not just relying solely on that heavy sound from the distortion. But when you're practicing, it's not just beneficial to practice with the clean tone, but it's also beneficial to practice with a distorted tone, because that's going to help you get the sound that you want on the song, especially if you're using chords and all of that, because a lot of times when the distortion's on, you're going to hear things that you may not have heard with a clean sound, with a much cleaner tone, right? So that's super important, especially when you're developing the tone of your instrument, because you want to really develop your own sound, and part of developing your own sound is developing the tone of your playing, right? So with this, like I said, our alternate picking pattern, just down, up, we're going to use our low E string. And what we're going to do, just to help us out, is we're going to use our metronome. Love to use the metronome. It is very helpful. We're going to start this at 120 BPM. I'll put this a little bit lower so it's not as irritating for you guys, because I know metronomes can be pretty irritating. So with 120, should be about right. I want to make sure I can hear it too. So we have it, so 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So that's the alternate picking pattern, and I started at 120. Obviously for you guys, especially if you have not done this before, I would suggest doing this even slower than that, which you guys will think might be a little bit easier, but actually sometimes it could be even trickier. So let's say we go to 63. Pretty slow. 1, 2, and every time I play with the metronome, I try to feel the beat. I try to hear it in my head. I try to hear the subdivision as well. So, for example, with that alternate pattern, we're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I would try to hear that one end inside that before I started playing. I don't just jump into playing with the metronome. So here we go, 63. 2 and 3 and 4. Oh, sound would be nice. 3 and 4. Just like that. If you heard, I was rushing a tad bit in the beginning, but you would start at a comfortable tempo, and then from there you would increase it, like I said in my other video where we talked about using metronomes. You would increase it by either 10 or 5 once you start to reach the ceiling, in which it starts to become a little bit more difficult to play on the beat. Drop my pick like always. So that's at 120, and like I said, when I did 120, if I was comfortable with that, and that was my starting point, I would go up to 130 and do the same exact thing. So if I do that from 130, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Then I would increase it again to 140, 2, 3, and 4. another 10 to 150, 2, 3, and 4. I think I was rushing a little bit over there, but regardless, I'm going to go up 10 again to 160, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And I'm just playing it for like a couple of measures for you guys. But when you're doing this, my suggestion would be to play this a little bit longer, maybe for like 30 seconds to, I'd say probably at least a minute. If not like at the very least 30 seconds, but maybe even like a minute, just to really get that in your right hand. Especially because if you're playing metal, you're going to be picking pretty fast for quite some time. You figure songs might be running anywhere from like 3 minutes to maybe 10 minutes. And if you're playing a show, you're going to be playing song after song. So you really want to build up on the stamina with your right hand. And then if you're recording, you might be recording all day. Then you really want to build up on not just the stamina, but the consistency as well. So that's our first pattern. We'll stop it there at 160 because you guys get the idea. After that, our next pattern we have is, this is something that you see a lot in thrash, the galloping pattern. So this one is just down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So it's going to be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And let's say I go back to 120. I'll do the same thing. So see, right over there, I just started and I was off, right? So again, just take the time, listen, even subdivide it. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. So I'm going to bring that again up 10 to 130. 1 and a 2, 3, 4. That's pretty good. Go up to 140, same thing. 1, 2, 1 and a 2, 3, 4. That's pretty good, not too bad. Bring it up to 150, same thing. And a 1, 2, 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4. That's pretty good. Same thing, up to 160. 1, 2, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. At the end over there, I kind of let loose, but you guys get the idea. So that's how I would practice those picking patterns. And, like I said, I would practice with a metronome, really just to help with the consistency and also to help with that consistency over a long period of time. And like I said, when you're doing this, I'd start from, if it's your very first time doing it, try it for 30 seconds just to get a handle on it. But once you really get going with that, I would say at least a minute, where you're just doing that one picking pattern at whatever tempo you're playing it at. And then, like I said, once you're finished with that, if it's good, bring it up 10. If it's a little difficult, stay on that tempo. If that's okay, but then going up 10 is difficult, then go up 5. Or go back to the tempo that you were playing it. So let's say you go from 120 to 130, that's good. 130 to 140, that's good. 140 is good. You go up to 150, that's not good. Then go back to 140, do that again, then go up to 145 and work on it from there, and then work in increments of 5, right? So you're really just working with whatever you're bumping into during your practice session whether you're getting it or not, right? And you just want to basically really listen to yourself and critique yourself as objectively as possible. You don't want to be lenient on yourself when you're doing this, because what you're doing is, when you're doing that, you're doing a disservice to your practice session, and you're not going to be getting as further as you'd think you're not going to be getting as far as you'd think you'd be getting, right? So you really want to be as objective as possible and as brutal as possible when you're critiquing yourself. But don't go too harsh on yourself. If you don't get it in one day, it's fine. Build up and have different goals each day. So maybe for the first day you're practicing this, get up to 120. If this is, something that at a faster tempo is difficult, get it at 120 consistently for like at least a minute. Then the next day your goal is to get 130. Next day your goal is to get 140. And that way you make it more manageable for yourself, and you don't get too disheartened when you don't actually reach the goal that you set for yourself, because you don't want to set too far of a goal from where you're at, right? You want to make sure that each step forward is a manageable step. So those are two different picking patterns. The last picking pattern I have, which is probably seemingly the easiest, is, I think, the more difficult one, which is just down picking. And this is actually something that Johnny Ramone, the guitarist from the Ramones, helped to popularize. So just like what we talked about with Freddie Green, being a rhythm player who never played solos, whose rhythm playing was very influential in big band jazz big band jazz guitar accompaniment. Just like how Freddie Green was influential in that sphere, Johnny Ramone was very influential within the punk and within the metal community for his down picking, because that's something that he popularized. And for him, again, that rhythm playing worked its way into metal, and then you do hear that in certain bands and in certain rhythm guitarists, one of which, James Hetfield, is very famous for his down picking, particularly on Welcome Home Sanitarium, right? If you listen to the bridge of that. That whole thing is just downpicked on that section. And if you're like real like, oh wow, that's pretty fast, is he really doing that? Look at a video of them playing it live, and you'll see James just picking down just like that. So when you're doing that, again, just eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I think for that part of the song, from what I looked at earlier, it's about like 215, 220 BPM, so it's pretty fast. That would be about, let's see. Oh man. So 220 is about here. Obviously, if you never did this before, that's going to be very intimidating, starting anywhere close to that. So again, you start off nice and slow. Let's go to 100. And when we're doing this, again, feel the beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing. Okay, that's good. We're going to bring it up to 110. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to bring it up to 120. Same thing. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Nice. Same thing. Up 10 to 130. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And you would continue it like that until you got to whatever tempo was your goal. So let's say for Welcome Home Sanitarium, you want to play that section and you want to get nice and consistent. The goal would be whatever the tempo of that section is, which is about like 215, 220-ish. So that would be your goal. And obviously, if you never did this before and it's starting to get difficult at 130, reaching 220 that day is not going to be feasible. This is not something that you're going to be able to rush if you want it to sound good. So again, create smaller goals for yourself. Get 130 for that day. The next day, make your goal 150. If you really want to, really want to challenge yourself, maybe even a little bit more than that, 160, 170, you know. But you'll start to see very quickly if you do that, whether that's going to be manageable or whether you're going to be pushing yourself so far that it starts to sound sloppy and you're kind of playing it but not really that well. And if that's the case, don't even bother making those giant leaps because it's not going to be worth it. Make smaller leaps. Because again, over time, you're going to start to see a big difference in your playing, whereas if you just sloppily play through this example at a faster tempo, it's not going to sound that good. And it's not going to be consistent because maybe sometimes you get it and then other times you don't. So this is why practicing with the metronome is important, and practicing with it as consistent as possible and being objective with critiquing your playing. And if you're not sure, let's say you're playing and you're not really too sure whether it's on the beat or not, record yourself. If you record yourself playing and you listen back, you're not worried about playing and everything because you don't have to do that. All you have to do is listen. So you'll be able to more objectively listen to your own playing and determine whether you were on or not, right? So those are some of my tips and all that for our right hand picking patterns. Again, I showed you guys 3 that are used quite a bit in metal and also in other types of music, right? So I hope that was beneficial for you guys. If you would like to sign up for a private lesson, you can sign up with the booking form in the description box below. We take in-home guitar lessons for anyone in the Syracuse, Oneida, New York area, and online lessons for anybody else outside. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Later.